for being here. It's another day in the upper room, and we're gonna go for it. Alrighty, so I'll be sharing on the topic, the doctrine of rest. That's what I've been carrying this week, being a seventh week doing this, and we've shared a lot about rest and how it relates to us. It's something that God ordained ever before the fall, and even more for the fall. It's a place of getting us back to the place where we fell from. When God created us, He called us a living soul. And only in that being a living soul do we truly fulfill the place that God has called us. You know, when we look at different scriptures, right, and talking about restoration of man, it all talks about, points back to the place of rest, you know. And when we talk about rest, it has to do with our spirit, our soul, and our body. In our body, we get to resuscitate ourselves every day when we sleep, but it's not only for our body, because what happens in our body affects our soul. What happens in our soul affects our spirit. And, you know, as much as they're all interconnected, the spirit is connected to the soul, and the body is connected to the soul. And there come the place where the Bible talks about there's a struggle between the spirit and the soul. And this flesh, the flesh's attachment to the soul wants to have the upper hand, and the spirit connection to the soul also wants to have the upper hand. They're both against one another in a sense, because flesh is a fallen state of man, spirit is the original state of man per se, and both of them are trying to have control over the soul. And the soul is the place where we have our intellect, our emotions, and our willpower. Our willpower is more connected to our spirit, and our emotions is more connected to our flesh. But all of that is struggling, trying to gain mastery, right, over one another. I go on to say the fact that everybody has his own frequency of life. That's why, again, I say, and like we shared in the book club, life is meant to be lived from inside out, not from outside in, right? In one of the communities group I sit on, someone was asking a question yesterday and was saying something about, all right, he doesn't have children, doesn't really have any family connection. Where will she get the strength to exercise and take care of herself? Because people typically do that for other people. Maybe someone is saying, oh, I want to stay alive for my children, or for my husband, for this, for that, for that. But now she's in a case where she doesn't have anybody to do it for. Where will she get that strength? And we end up sharing with her that you don't have to live for anybody. The first person you live for in this life is yourself, right? It's yourself. Life is meant to be lived from inside out. And for every person, there's a frequency by which you need to connect to live that life, right? They are, from a psychological standpoint, I work with several times. I'm a psychologist at the same time. And from a psychological standpoint, there are basically four things that affect the way or determines the way you live, you respond to life, right? The first one is what we call the LOC. It's called the Locus of Control, right? The way you are tuned to life is dependent on what is your locus of control. There are pretty much two locus of control. There's either the internal locus of control or the external locus of control. And what it's all talking about is, what is your belief as to what controls your life? Is it the things you can control or the things you cannot control? Is it the things that are inside of you or the things that are outside of you, right? One is a winning strategy. One is a defeatist strategy, right? The right place to be is to be an internal locus of control, where you know and you believe that your life is controlled by the things, right, that are under your control. What you do with them, your focus is not on the things you can't control. Your focus on the things you can control. The next thing that determines your rest or how you are tuned to life is what we call the someone's escaping me now. What they call that word now. It's not coming to me, so let me explain what it is. What it's talking about is your control, how much control you have over your emotions, right? How much control you have over your emotions. If you don't have the least control you have over your emotions, it determines how neurotic, or neuroticism is what we call it. Neuroticism, your ability to control your emotions, right? The next one is we'll call self-efficacy. Your belief that you can do the things of life is called self-efficacy. That is your ability to believe that you can do the task that is before you. And the last of the four is called self-esteem, which we all know. All those four determine your ability to live life and for rest to be in your life. We'll finish up tomorrow. God bless you. All right, let's go.